Good morning. Good morning. Hey. Uh, how are you all this morning? Hello, everyone in chat. I was about to read the names, but these are very difficult names or usernames to pronounce, so I might not do that today. Um, hey, I hope everything's fine with the stream here. Let me know something in chat if there are any problems. Yeah, we want to talk about Laravel today. Yeah, what pretty big news yesterday. Last week was Laracon US, and then there was this announcement. They scheduled this announcement video, and we had to wait a couple days. And then yesterday was the big day. The news arrived. Laravel is getting like a pretty big investment, 75, 50, 57 million. Dollars basically, which is mind blowing. That's a huge pile of money, and there's a lot to say about it. Yesterday there was also this Q&A with Taylor, and he answered a lot of questions there. So I want to give a brief summary, and I want to sit down with all of you here today and talk about it and see what are your thoughts about it as well. Just have a little bit of an interaction there. That's the goal this morning or evening or noon, whatever time zone you're living in. So let's talk a little bit about Laravel first. And let's check out the new things as well. And then I also want to talk about PHP in general, because I feel like this is a pretty big thing for PHP as well. And finally, we'll also take a look at some community reactions here. So lots of things to do, right? Hello, everyone who's new in chat as well. Glad you're here. We're talking about Laravel. Share, by the way, take a moment to share this link on your social media if you want to. It would be cool to have a couple of people here and to talk about it together. So, with all of that being said, let me grab a little drink here. And let's take a look here. I've got a couple of things ready. So this is the blog post that was posted yesterday. Let me make it a little smaller, and let me actually close these. I was about to say inventory management. Let's move this. Desktop management, right? Oh. Like so. This is better. Clean. So, Accel invests. I'm not native English speaking, so I always want to say 75, but it's 57, right? Million into Laravel products and open source, the open source framework. So, very short blog post here by Taylor, just the initial announcement. So, as far as I understand, Accel is this firm that invests into other companies, right? I'm not from the US, so I'm not really that familiar with venture capitalism and stuff like that. So, but yeah, there's this huge amount of money, and Laravel is going to be doing a lot of cool things with it. So let's read this post real quickly, because there are a couple of important things here. So Taylor is excited to announce that Laravel has raised a 57 million series in a partnership with Accel. Accel, by the way, they've also invested in stuff like Vercel and Sentry, so they're not new to the scene. Taylor believes that Laravel is the most productive way to build full stack web applications. And Laravel Cloud, that's something we need to talk about as well, will be the platform for shipping those applications that this community deserves. So Taylor has this pretty cool vision for PHP, from hello world to deployment in 60 seconds, and with the capital that's available now, Laravel is growing their team. They're now, Taylor mentioned, 34 people instead of less than 10 at the beginning of this year. So they've grown significantly, and there's some sirens outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but and one of the big things they're working on now is Laravel Cloud, which will be kind of something like Laravel Forge and Vapor, but different again. So just everything's managed by Laravel Cloud. You don't have to set up anything manually yourself anymore. Just push a button, I reckon, and you'll be able to deploy. And you'll, like, from what I understand from Taylor, like very competitive pricing, and of course, like obvious things in place. People will worry about that, like you hear these horror stories of things going out of hand with things in the cloud, right? And like people paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, but there will be measurements in place there, as far as I understand, to prevent like these rogue payments. So that's covered as well, as far as I understand. It's not released yet. Let's check out the website here, Laravel Cloud. It's a pretty basic website, so we don't know a lot yet. There was this trailer. That's a bit loud for me. Hang on. And yeah, anyway, it's nothing more than this. Some teasers. And yeah, it's coming in. Let's check here. When will it be available? Q4 2024. And Bayas, you're asking if it's for AWS. As far as I understand, yes, because like all of that is managed by Laravel Cloud. So that's a pretty ambitious project, right? But yeah, this is one of the big things happening. And then Taylor also announced that there will be another product that will be announced at Laracon AU, another big thing they're working on. And he hinted that it will be something about, let me check here, like a bug tracker. And that's interesting because, like I mentioned quickly before, that Accel also invested heavily in Sentry, which is also a bug tracker, right? So yeah, it will be interesting to see like how things will evolve in that area. Maybe there will be some kind of collaboration here. I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to wait for Laracon AU before we have like more insights into that second big project. So yeah, interesting. But I mean, when it comes to bug tracking, like Laravel recently removed Ignition and went for their own in-house error page. It makes sense, of course, because Ignition was integrating with Flare, which was a paid product by an external company. So yeah, if you want to go the bug tracking route, it makes sense for Laravel to ship their own thing. So interesting in hindsight, right? So yeah, we'll see. There are some unknowns still, but yeah, very very interesting, right? Some very important things as well is that Taylor is he mentioned he's just staying. He's gonna do the same things he was doing before, so it's not like Taylor is just leaving Laravel. And yeah, I feel that's a pretty important thing here, because Laravel, I wrote a blog post about this. What was it called? Committee, like limited by committee. Oh yeah, with the camels. But like there are two ways to design a software project, to manage a software project. You can either design it by committee, and that's how PHP is designed, and there are lots of people with lots of opinions and different agendas trying to make something work together. It's a more democratic approach. And then there is like the benevolent dictator for life approach. We've seen that in Python. There are some other projects where one person has like the final say. And I think I've talked about this before, but I think that this is what made Laravel so successful. It's just one person, Taylor. He's pushing his vision, and people help, and they can voice their opinion. And I'm fairly certain that Taylor listens to a lot of those opinions. But in the end, there's one person in charge. And so that's it's pretty important that Taylor stays with Laravel. But he was pretty clear on that. He did a Q&A. Let's see here. So there was this special announcement video right yesterday, and then right after that they did this Q&A, a live Q&A where Aaron and Taylor, they sat together and talked about
Do it in a way that
is out again. Sorry. They talked about like all the questions that popped up, and Taylor was pretty clear. He's staying with Laravel, so that's good, because otherwise I would be kind of worried, to be honest. But in this case, it sounds like everything's gonna be like stay the same for now, and there's just a lot more room to do a lot more cool things and to help shape like Laravel and the ecosystem and PHP onto the next level, right? So so let's check here. Adrian, you're here as well. You're a regular viewer. Thanks for being here. Your biggest concern is a numbers again, 57 million investments, and like companies want a 570 million profit back. Yeah, that's apparently how things work, and I'm curious about that as well. Like, how are you going to do that? Because like Laravel Cloud, it is pretty cool, but I also feel like there should be, like, I'm a Laravel Forge user, and I feel like there's very little incentive for me to switch. Sure, like there's less friction for Laravel Cloud probably. It's just all, I reckon, a couple of clicks and you're done. You don't have to like manage your own DigitalOcean or AWS account anymore. It all works for you behind the scenes. So there's that. But is that like enough? Like, is that a big enough selling point to actually have Laravel Cloud be a big enough thing, right? And there's the bug tracker, error monitor thingy they're also working on. I'm not sure about that. I guess that's like a calculated risk they are taking. And I figured that if Accel thought it was worth the investment, then those people are much smarter than I am when it comes to these kinds of business decisions. So I guess for now it makes sense, and they definitely thought about this a lot. So we'll have to see like where it goes. Yeah, so interesting, right? Taras, you're saying this is such good news. I actually I agree. Like, this is great news, and not just for Laravel, but PHP in general. And I want to come back to that in a minute. And let's see here. Steve, you're talking about more Lambos. I don't know, like, how many Lambos does one need, right? And then Mr. or Mrs. Gameplay also sold Laravel. If you check the LLC, yeah, I don't know how that works. So I'm actually I want to talk about this more in depth with more knowledgeable people. So I'm planning on doing video on like investment in general, because I want to better understand it. I'm from Europe, so this doesn't happen all that often in Europe, or I live under a rock. That's possible as well. But like, I have like a general idea of how things work, but yeah, it's an interesting topic. So I don't feel like I'm knowledgeable enough to talk about it right now, but I wanna sit down with some people and like have a proper conversation about it and really understand how things work, right? When it comes to investments and acquisitions and selling parts of your company, right? So, Steve, you're asking, does this investment devalue the partner program? That's interesting. The Laravel partner program. These were like sponsors, right? And Laravel kind of promoted them as they endorsed them. That's the right word. So yeah, we'll see what will happen with that. But like, the feeling that I got from the Q&A with Taylor is that many of the things will stay the same. And he even mentioned that like Laravel has a huge ecosystem today. Some things are paid, some are not. And like he mentioned that all of these things, they weren't even really all that much discussed for the investment, right? It was mostly about, as far as I understand, cloud and like the new product, the unnamed bug tracker Sentry baby thingy. I don't know. So yeah. Good morning, by the way, to all the new people joining here. Binary Kitten, such great usernames here. These I can read. And Kadu, it's 5 a.m. in Brazil. Good morning. Glad you're here. 5 p.m. in Tokyo. Like crazy people from all around the world joining. Well, definitely like share your thoughts and opinions, questions in chat. Like the goal of this stream here is to have a little talk about it and like to see what we feel about it and yeah, just in general. So Steve, you're here. The focus for the team is now on products, so who knows? That's easier said than done when investors come in. Yeah, that's true. I mean, one of the things I wrote down here in my notes is that like we can say whatever we want now. No one has like what's the English word for it? No one can look in the future anyway. So who knows what Taylor will do 5 years from now? Who knows what investors will do 5 years from now? We don't know. But like Laravel has been going on for 10 years now, more than 10 years even. I've never had like the impression that they are in it just for the money. There's this passion within the community, right? The passion for code, for like creating super cool applications that you know have very nice developer experience. So I mean, if it was just about the money, I think it would have been easier for Taylor to just retire. I feel like how many Lambos does one need, right? I think 1 or 2 are enough. So no, the impression I got is that he has a pretty big vision for Laravel and PHP, and that's pretty cool because like sure Laravel is one thing, but there's PHP in general, and there are even more people benefiting from that. But I'm gonna come back to PHP when we're done here with the comments, but they keep coming in. But that's nice, keep them coming. My biggest gripe is that Laravel doesn't have 2 to 5 years LTS releases anymore. Like that's not like, if I can share my personal opinion about that, I don't really feel like that's a problem. But I've always been a big advocate for like just staying up to date and dealing with the breaking changes whenever they occur. There are tools that help you with that, both for PHP and Laravel. And so yeah, I don't really feel like that's such a big issue. When I worked at Spassy, where we did like big-ish, medium-sized, it depends on your point of view, but bigger Laravel projects. You know, this was just something the client knew this. Once a year, usually February, March, something like that. There was just a week of doing updates, and they paid for it, and that was just the way it went, and they agreed with it because things got more performant, things got easier for us, for developers, and things got more secure. So there wasn't really like, it's just part of the deal, right? Laravel Cloud will cost money. AWS doesn't joke. Yeah, that's one of the things Taylor talked about in the Q&A briefly as well. Like how are they gonna like manage that? It's still unclear. So, and let's check here. So unless you write packages for Laravel, I think you're referring to like the backwards compatibility, right? Yeah. It takes a while. That's why at Spassy, like there was this upgrade week, and it wasn't just upgrading client projects, but it was also upgrading 300 packages. But again, automation, right? And it worked pretty well. Like this was always like a week or maybe even 2 weeks a year, but it was worth the investment. So also in Europe, couldn't find any job for Laravel to work in only. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe I was lucky in that regard. We'll see, like how the market evolves. Again, it's something I want to come back to in a second. I wish Taylor buys PHP and makes it even bigger. Okay, that's something we'll have to come back to as well. Symfony is big in the EU. That's true. And let's check here. It would be cool to see an investment in the PHP Foundation from Laravel. Okay, maybe we should go to PHP for a second. Because Taylor briefly talked about this as well. And let's see here. Let's talk about the PHP Foundation. It's being mentioned here. So, in case you're unaware, the PHP Foundation it was created, let's see, like two years ago, maybe even longer. And it was meant as like a way to like pay developers to work on PHP. So remember, Laravel now raised $57 million, right? So does anyone know on top of their head how much the PHP Foundation has raised in total? And this is okay, but it makes total sense. But let's scroll down here. So where was it? Yeah, almost 1.5 million. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Taylor talked about, like, some people ask this question: will Laravel buy PHP? And that's an interesting thought. But it's, as far as Taylor was concerned, and as far as I know, that's not really possible, since PHP is just an open source project. Technically, Laravel could fork PHP, but I don't think that would be the smartest decision, because it's not about the language; it's about the community and the ecosystem. And you cannot fork Composer, for example. Well, you could do that, but you cannot copy the whole ecosystem. You can copy the code, but not the people. So the impression that Taylor gave was that they are really looking forward to helping the PHP community, basically, like with documentation, with possibly features. It was a little bit vague about that, and maybe financially even more. That could be possible as well. You cannot really compare like these numbers to what Laravel is trying to do, because PHP is a whole different kind of project. Even though, like, without PHP there wouldn't be a Laravel, or I don't feel like it's a fair comparison. They have totally different goals, right? That being said, I think the PHP Foundation could use some more money. So tell your employers about that. The past 2 years, there has been a lot of good things coming from the PHP Foundation, and I feel like they're finally like picking up the pace to make a serious impact for PHP. So that's nice. So that being said, Laravel is, Taylor mentioned Laravel is interested in helping PHP. A little bit vague about what that means. But think about like this acquisition, that's a difficult word for me, but like this investment. It's in Laravel, but it means many more people will come to PHP. Or at least I think that's the hope. I think that's the business plan. Like, no, it's pretty clear that's a business plan. Attract new people to Laravel. And if you like kept an eye on social media the past year, we've already seen this shift happening slowly. More and more people are starting to realize that server-side rendering is a good thing, that PHP isn't that old anymore, that PHP isn't that slow anymore, that there's a huge ecosystem. Actually, compared to many JavaScript frameworks, it's a lot easier to set things up. So a lot more people are getting excited about Laravel, PHP, right? I reckon for many newcomers, they won't think of PHP necessarily as something standalone. They will get to know PHP via Laravel. And like as a PHP developer, that might, not sound like the greatest thing. You want people to think of PHP as PHP and not just Laravel. But on the other hand, like more people are coming in. That's the best case scenario here, or a good case scenario. Laravel is gaining a lot more customers. They are making a lot more money. They can invest the money in part back into PHP, either via open source or with contributions to the PHP Foundation or PHP internals. Maybe they will employ an internal developer themselves, who knows, to work on features like, for example, multi-line short closures. Who knows? That would be nice, wouldn't it? But in the end, I feel like even though a lot of people will come in via Laravel and might not even realize that it's PHP as its own thing, but just, oh yeah, I'm a Laravel developer. I'm not a PHP developer. I'm a Laravel developer. Even still, it's still good for PHP. So all of us will benefit from that. Even if you're not a Laravel developer yourself, it might take a little longer, but I feel that in general, this is just all good news for PHP. One of the things Taylor showed as well on their on his Laracon keynote was like this VS Code extension, right? And he mentioned yesterday it will be free, and it targets newcomers, people coming from the JavaScript world. The things I've seen from it, I still really believe that PHP Storm will be a lot more effective if you really want to dive into PHP. But they are investing into like creating a path for newcomers to come into PHP and to ease that way into PHP. And that's a very good thing. And that's really, like I did a couple of live streams during this week before this one. And I mentioned this in the previous or the one before that, like the PHP renaissance, right? It like this is gonna make that happen. If there's one thing that could happen that's gonna move PHP forward in a much more significant way, this is it. So I'm confident about that. I'm very much looking forward to see what's gonna happen there. Let's check the comments here. Interesting PR number 321 to the Laravel website repo. Should I check it out? What's the Laravel website? What's the repository? The Laravel docs? I don't know. This one probably. Let's check. Oh no. There are 9,000 PRs here. I doubt this is I'm in the right place, but let's just check this one just to be sure. No. Okay, Adrian, if you wanna like share some more details about that. So one of the things mentioned here is the PHP documentation that needs improvement. Yeah, and so this is something that Laravel maybe could help with. Taylor mentioned this. So a good thing. What do you think this version of Taylor is? Or is this partnership will position PHP or Laravel in the future? This vision. I read version. I was totally confused. Yeah, but Taylor was pretty kind of vague about it, but we'll have to see. We'll have to wait a little bit, like how PHP will shape exactly. But I'm very certain that it's not gonna negatively impact PHP. So that's good. A better PHP makes a better Laravel, and a better Laravel makes better products. Better products makes more money. Exactly. That's what Steve is saying. At least the framework license is still MIT and copyright Taylor Otwell. Investment in a Laravel company, which doesn't mean same level in framework. There will be trickle down, but it's not one-to-one. True, but Taylor also mentioned that they are now, thanks to the investment, employing more people to work on open source full-time. So there's that. Laravel framework is being mentioned like as the repository to check out. So Laravel framework. Are there only there are 50,000 pull requests here? I don't know. The PHP docs are fine. Only the code examples are not the best quality. I don't know. Like if you go to this is from marketing perspective, right? If you want to market PHP, this is the landing page for PHP, right? Go to something like Rust. Okay, this sucks. TypeScript, but TypeScript sucks as well. Why? isn't there like a beautiful landing page for a programming language? But this is already better than this, I feel. Go lang. Why do programmers build such bad landing pages? You know which landing page is nice? Laravel. This is a nice landing page. They thought about this. Does Kotlin have a nice landing page? Kotlin. Yeah. Ooh, accept. This is nicer than this, I would say. So, Vue might be a good one. But still, also a bit boring. No. I really thought there were more pretty landing pages. Anyway, but I don't think anyone disagrees. Like, this could use a little bit of an upgrade. Gleam is mentioned here. That's not the right one. Gleam.run. Oh yeah, this is nice. Man, this feels like, okay, a modern language. Next. Yeah, also, okay, yeah, okay, this is good. So, let's check here. Sergio, not sure how to feel about this news. I guess for them it's really good, but I wonder how much support will users of Laravel get if they do not use their premium products. But like, is there a difference compared to today? Because like, there are already paid products for Laravel, and I like, do you feel that people that are using those products get like a better treatment when it comes? Well, maybe, but you could assume that companies heavily invested in Laravel also, like, whenever they submit a pull request, it might get a bit more attention, but kind of makes sense. I don't feel like that's like there would be a difference compared to today. That's what I want to say. I don't know what you're saying about like the URL parts, by the way, or the repositories. There's some PR somewhere, and I don't know which one it is, and there's something interesting there. So Adrian, if you want to send it to me, you can send it on Discord as well. I think you're here. Are you here? I don't know. But so, yeah, the React website. React. But this is, yeah, also a bit boring now. I mean, we can do better. Like, let's look at the Tailwind website. Well, also a bit boring, actually. But maybe I've just gotten used to it. I don't know. Maybe just modern web design is a bit boring and bland. Maybe that's my problem. Oh, Adrian is not on Discord apparently. I don't know. Yeah. So okay, then there's no repository to show. Sure. Let's check here. Let's check my notes. What else did I want to say? I wanted to take a quick look at the community reaction as well, because overall it was very, very positive. There's Reddit, of course. Reddit is notorious for being negative. But so okay, and this is the most upvoted comment. And here, so it's all fun and games until the stakeholders start making demands. Fingers crossed. I feel it's like there's no way to predict the future, right? So yeah, who knows? Maybe 5 years from now, Taylor says he's just gonna buy 10 more Lambos and quit, retire. But he could have done that already today. So I feel like this is more a like Taylor is showing he wants to further invest into the PHP community, and I think that's a good thing. But overall, their reactions here were pretty like the top ones are not all a good, but okay. I scrolled through this yesterday, and I think there were some nice comments in here. On Twitter, it's all fine. It's all good. People are very happy with it, but it's also Twitter, of course. There's no. I love Twitter. In case you don't know, Twitter is. There's no room for criticism on Twitter. Then there was Hacker News, and I was surprised. I thought like, okay, this is a really big thing in PHP, but apparently it's not that big compared to other investments, I guess. So there was one interesting comment here about Sentry. So Accel invested in Sentry back in 2015. As of 2019, it's no longer open source, and I just wanted to look into this a little bit, because this comment is kind of misleading, and it might like give some fear, uncertainty, and doubt about like this might happen to Laravel. It might not be open source anymore. But there are a couple side notes to be made here. So I checked the like the relicensing Sentry blog post from 2019. And this is a very interesting read. I really recommend you looking it up if you want to. What they did, Sentry is still open source, but they have this very interesting license where the first 3 years, so whenever a feature is released, it's closed source for the first 3 years. And then after 36 months, it becomes Apache 2 licensed. And that's interesting because that way they kind of stay ahead of the competition, because people were actually copying Sentry and then trying to make money from it. And they also mentioned that you cannot offer a commercial version of Sentry's service. So I like this comment on Hacker News kind of feels like a bit of an exaggeration, because you can like it's still open source, but there are some side notes to be made. So that's I was like, oh yeah, maybe there is something to fear about. And then I read through this, and this is like from my perspective, but I wasn't a Sentry user back then, so maybe I missed something. But yeah, I think there's another siren there. Okay, it's gone. Yeah, I don't think like we should worry too much about it. Again, like imagine that this investment didn't happen. Then what? Like 2 years from now, Tero could still decide to leave everything behind. Or to make Laravel closed source. Or to I don't know what. And I think like Laravel has found this balance between doing some parts open source and then having commercial products tied to it, so that like it's such a genius marketing strategy if you look back on it. But like first there was the framework, and then some tools that integrated very well with the framework. You pay for it, people could still use the framework, and it was like a marketing device in part, right? And they got pulled more and more into the ecosystem. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so, because I think Laravel has proven that it worked very well, right? So yeah, you DM'd the link via Twitter. Okay, this is the pull request. And what's the pull request? Laravel is a trademark of Laravel Holdings. Yeah, I guess that's just legal stuff, right? Like I mentioned at the start of the stream, I'm not... Oh, you cannot even see that. Hang on. Hey, like this. This is what changed. I think that makes sense, doesn't it? I wouldn't think that there's... I don't think there's a big evil company plotting to like overthrow Laravel and like, yeah, destroy the whole PHP world. I don't think that's happening. I really believe this is a good thing for PHP. But in the end, we cannot look into the future, right? We don't know what's gonna happen. And we'll have to wait, we'll have to see. But for now, I'm happy with this. I really think it's a good thing to happen. It's one of the bigger things to happen to like within the PHP community. And my hope is that just a lot more people will discover modern PHP with Laravel, and we'll see where it goes from there. So yeah, those are my thoughts, and apparently your thoughts as well, on all of this. We'll have to keep an eye on it. I'm gonna try to schedule something with more knowledgeable people than I about like how do these investments work, and like what goes on behind the scenes in general, not Laravel specifically, but yeah, I want to learn more about that. So I'm gonna try to keep you posted. If you want to, you can subscribe to the channel, and yeah, to keep posted, right? Before you leave, don't forget to leave a like down below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Okay, have a good day. Bye bye.